Okay, guys, so we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I'll be your friendly, grim, and perilous master today, because today we're carrying on with our ongoing campaign of playing Cubicle 7's outstanding fantasy RPG Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition. And with me today are the stars of our Salt, Silver, and Sin campaign, which makes use of the excellent Salzenmund City of Salt and Silver sourcebook. I'll go the order I've got you guys on the screen here. Why don't you tell us who you are and who you're playing today. First up, we've got Darren.
Hello there. Yeah, I'm playing Alwyn Carlson, who is a human, currently outlaw. And as always, he's with his trusty family pet Astrid that's not very good in the bar fight.
Very hesitant. Next up is Carl.
Hello, I am playing Katerina, who's a priest of Shalia.
Very nice. Next up is John.
Everyone, I'm John. I'm playing Talthier of Manon. He is a sailor priest of Manon.
Nice. And last, but certainly not least, is Sean.
Hey, I'm playing Thognoth Berrickson, a dwarf of the Cragforge clan and an Ironbreaker.
Very nice. So, guys, this is session 34 of our campaign. And last session saw some planning go out the, well, not out the window, but we saw you preoccupied with something else. What do you guys recall happening last time?
Let's see.
And if you don't remember, I'll fight you for it.
I was a little bit late to the party because my alarm went off late. But,
yeah, that's right.
When I finally showed up, there was a discussion between the group and Ohar. Is it Orha? What did we decide? Orha, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
About, obviously, the confession of Grozim. So, Orha, I think, basically said that he wants Grozim to finish the job once the tunnels have been flooded, which is what we're proposing to do, to flood the tunnels and rid the tunnels of the Skaven. But then Orha wants him to finish the job of clearing out the rest of the water and making the tunnels habitable to go and look for their artifacts, their elven artifacts. So, yeah, he was not happy, as you'd imagine, finding out the treachery from Grozim. And then we went to the tavern to sort of recuperate and discuss. And I think it was mainly Fognoth's fault. We got into a bit of a bar brawl.
Yeah, I'm lucky I'm concussed, all right?
I'd show you.
Yeah, I think someone bumped into someone, and
an old man bumped into Alwyn.
Right.
And then gave a sort of a bit of a wink or a nod to a table of ruffians in the corner.
Yeah.
And after a little bit of working out, I think it was it Telfer, I think, worked out that there'd been something put in the drinks, or I think so. So, yeah, me and Fognoth went to have a little word, and it went a bit ugly. Didn't go quite to plan. Not quite what we thought was going to happen.
Well, the old guy passed out because I crit failed his resolve check, or whatever. Is it resolve?
He got intimidated.
Cool.
I think he got intimidated, didn't he, by
Fognoth? Yeah. So he critically failed his cool check, meaning leaving him to be passed out, which was going to get him kicked out. The thugs were leaving, and you guys elected to interpose. And then...
Oh, yeah. We asked for our money back for the drinks that were spoiled. And they decided they'd take it a bit further.
Yep.
And we couldn't step down, obviously, but they helped us to go down.
Well, I don't think Alwyn doesn't have any crit injuries, does he, from that?
No, he got beaten up, but luckily got patched up quite well by the others. And I think in the end, Katarina had to get the crowd involved to basically help us because we were getting beaten up. So yeah, they didn't like them.
Oh, you're muted, Sean. Yep, Timo.
We had him right where we wanted them.
Yeah, we were just about to turn it round, but Katarina stepped in just in case.
It may have appeared that Thognoth was unconscious, but I assure you, it was just, marshaling his energy for a renewed counteroffensive.
A little bit of possum.
Exactly. Those famous dwarven possum tactics. And I think that's where we left things, right? Like, you guys got back up, your drinks were bought for you for the evening. But otherwise, you're sitting around just nursing some new injuries. Mm-hmm. We did have some discussion about everyone. Can you guys tell us what your motivation is currently, or maybe just put it in chat? That's how you get your resolve and your resilience back. I'll just.
What is it? What was that question again? Sorry.
Your motivation.
I definitely remember. Yeah, short-term ambition thing, or
so the enjoys a scrap. You're going to have to make that a little more specific for what your motivation is for the getting the resilience back. Then, the reason being is or your resolve back, because the resilience is something you're supposed to be getting back when you're getting anything kind of semi-related to that. But the resolve is supposed to be something that's a major a major goal for you. So if there's a specific
way around, I got you. I was doing the other way around. Let's see. I was doing the short term. Let's see.
Oh yeah. And it's different from your goals, right? Like, your goals are separate from your motivation.
Yep. Because I was thinking the resilience was the big one. Let me see.
Well, they share the exact same thing. It's your motivation that governs getting either of them back. But it's something peripherally related to that gives you the lesser of the two back. And if something gets a more consequential goal that gets the other one back. And that has to be more specific. The other thing is like a motivation, just from a gameplay perspective, because you get fate back when you achieve big goals in a generally after a fight or after achieving something like that, that's not really a reasonable motivation as well, because it's just setting a single goal to get two kinds of things back. It's definitely, like, the way you've got it there, enjoys the scrap is fine for getting resolve back, but for getting resilience.
So I think resilience is the big one.
Yeah, it is.
Resolve's the small one.
We get this fucking backwards every time. So
enjoy scrap was meant for the small one.
But like, they're both related to the motivation, right?
Yeah.
The motivation is not like goals where you got multiple things.
But you wanted the small one or the big one?
So let's try this again. Motivation is a singular thing. It's not a goal. Like, if you read on Resolve 172, resolve is regained whenever you act according to your motivation. Yep. And when something that's of extreme importance to your motivation, that's when you get resilience back.
Fair enough. Let's see here.
Oh, like a motivation for adventuring.
Yeah, and motivation is different from your goals.
Yep.
Goals are related to gaining XP. Motivation it interprets your character's core, a word or phrase that sums up what you live for.
Oh.
I think we listed those earlier on, like when the characters were first made.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. So again, like
I have it.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
That's what I have.
Like, one thing to interpret
down.
for promote Shali's mission. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. which is a challenge with you guys because
And these are, I mean, let's see, those are. Okay, so we're listing their. Those are ambitions. Gotcha.
Yeah, again, like ambitions are the goals. So it's not that what you want is your motivation.
Yep. I'm just looking at the chat, and those are goals. Yeah,
That's nebulous.
That's correct. All characters.
Ambitions, but I forgot.
Let me read it out for you guys. All characters choose a motivation. It represents your character's core essence, a word or phrase that sums up what you live for. In addition to the obvious role-playing benefits for portraying your character, motivation is also used to regain resolve points. When considering your motivation, think of something that is fundamental to your character's nature. Also, try to make your motivation something fun to roleplay, and something that will work well with other PCs and their motivations. Other examples of potential motivations include a perfectionist who loves to plan methodically and draw energy from flawless execution of schemes, a nurturer who gains strength from caring for others or rescuing them from situations, a penitent martyr who revels in hardship to atone for past misdeeds, or a shining wit who's ever engaged in witty badinage and banter to lighten the mood. I learned a word today. If you can't think of a motivation, don't worry. One may arise as you create more of your character, and the other players and GMs can always help. Even if you do have one, it's possible that you may change your mind when you're bringing your character to life. So, you guys have done an incredible job of establishing who these characters are. So, if you're having trouble thinking of a motivation for your character, perhaps the other players could suggest what the motivation has been that seems to have been guiding the characters.
What about fighting for his honor? So that would tie into enjoying a scrap as the casual version.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, the only issue I have with that one is just that it makes sense for the character. It's kind of trying to, it does seem like it's double capturing. For if you're getting fate back from that, you're also managing to do just a singular thing to get as well the resilience. So it's not requiring you to go beyond what would get you your fate back. That's the only reluctance I have with that. It definitely fits with the character and with how he's been played. Is there anything else he's working towards, though, apart from just a fight? Like, he could have had a fight by staying back home. Why has he come out? Why has he left the Silver Hills?
That was kind of tied to like his commanding officers sending him out.
Wasn't it because he was fighting too much?
He needed seasoning. He was like young and didn't really have any. Was very myopic in his vision. Like, you know, didn't really have a good idea of the world at large. And so he sent him out to.
So I thought it was some fuck up that he had. That he's like, it was Fognath had a choice of either like getting experience in the world or taking the Slayers out.
I think that was to join the Ironbreakers. So his relative like took him to the temple of.
Oh, right. Okay.
And that was when he joined to get straightened out. You know, kind of like the military option.
So then has he not? Like, is his motivation still just to try and keep fighting everything? Just consider that.
I mean,
what about the rest of the guys? Do you have you got motivations in mind for your characters?
Yeah, after I boil it down to it, Talther is adventuring for status and influence. That's what he's going for.
Okay.
It's like a means to an end for his goals, but then in the end, that's what he wants.
Yep, okay.
Yeah, I think Alwyn set out to make a name for himself because obviously he was the little brother and a bit overshadowed by his brother originally. And that is still the case, but now he's got loyalty as well to his group. So it's sort of partly driven by that as well, I think.
So is the motivation then... So it was it to make a name for himself? Or
yeah, to return one day to his family and his people. with, people have heard of him, and oh, that's Alwyn, and
Okay.
a bit of a name for himself. That's his main motivation.
Okay.
Sort of fame, I suppose. In a way.
Okay. So sorry, Sean. Do you think is that still only that is the only thing that motivates Thoknoth is just getting in a scrap?
I wouldn't say it's the only thing, but it's definitely pure to dwarves and pure to his occupation, and it's been a big part of his life. So I'm trying to think of. It's definitely core. I wouldn't say it's only, but fighting for the dwarves, fighting for honor. He definitely likes to scrap.
So that's the difference. Is what is he actually fighting for then? Why is he out of the? He would have had plenty of fights back in the Silver Hills. Why is he out here adventuring with a bunch of humans? Why is he putting up the working with and for elves, suffering those kinds of degradations?
Let's see.
Is it the honor of his name, his family name, or?
Yeah, let's see. I guess because that's in his long-term ambitions. If we wanted to meld ambitions with motivations, he was looking for a nickname from his clan. I was trying to make it different than an ambition, but if we wanted to kind of weave it,
well, the ambition can be driven what the goal is a specific thing you want to achieve. The motivation is the reason you want to achieve that.
Yep. So, yeah, we could weave them. I guess to achieve honor in the eyes of his clan.
Okay.
So something like recognition from his clan.
Look, let me ask you this, guys. What have you seen Thognoth roleplayed to seem to be what seems in your mind to be driving his motivation?
Well, currently it's supporting his fellow dwarf, grows him, his friendship with his dwarf and his honor to support each other or help each other.
For sure, his motivation, well, he has been acting like, his relationship with other dwarves is like very precious to him, so that the whole honor thing does come up.
Well, I also think of where we saw Thognoth at the start of the campaign too, showing up at a human family with a bunch of kids and whatnot, and as soon as one of them was in trouble, Thognoth jumped in with Colin's character to go and help out with it.
So is that a supportive protection?
Well, I wonder if loyalty.
Yes. Well, once he's bonded with someone, he seems extremely loyal to them.
Yeah, because I think of what Thognoth definitely is a capable fighter, but he's, when needs be, Thognoth seems to have been stepping in to try and protect or take the biggest blows for anybody.
Okay.
Also seems that he's stepping up when the non-martial stuff. I don't doubt that the fighting is a part of that as well. But if he's trying to seek glory in it for himself or a nickname for himself, it seems like he's trying to honor his clan. Again, all of that seems to, apart from the nickname, maybe it all seems to be in service to others. Does that sound right, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, one could almost word it like Darren's, but it's just to his clan. He's trying to make a name for himself with his clan, maybe his commanding officer, in the direction of honor, to establish his role of the in the dwarves. He didn't think he needed this, but his commanding officer differed, sent him out into the world, and so he's kind of trying to make a name for himself as a. And mainly through, the main thing he knows how to do is fight. That's his occupation, and he enjoys it. And he got in trouble for it before joining the Dwarven military. So
So mechanically then, guys, what that would mean is that to achieve your motivations, you guys need to be achieving things that make names for yourselves. Just so we understand the mechanics of it. Like, that's the stuff you need to do in order to be pursuing getting resilience back, achieving points in resolve.
Yeah, and that kind of dovetails, I think, with the scrap part of, don't mess with Thognoth kind of a thing. Whether it's a bar fight or an epic battle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then, do you think you've achieved anything thus far that would be consistent with your motivation?
Well, another clan gave Thognoth his their clan relic, so I think that's a plus.
I buy that. Yeah, you can give yourself 1 point of resilience back.
Okay.
Well, we definitely made a name for ourselves as far as the Orhar goes. I mean, he knows who we are. We met that noble.
You've made a name for yourself for Orhar, but it is
not in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's infamy, fame. So
yeah, I didn't know because the wedding thing hasn't really got out yet, but we did get to the bottom of it. But it hasn't really. The word hasn't been spread yet, has it? The whole. But I think that could have potentially given us a bit of a name for resolving it, whether it was good or bad. But like I say, we haven't really reported back and finished that, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, but that might do in the future. Maybe.
Yeah. Anything else?
I mean, if we'd won that bar fight, I would have thrown that in there, but that didn't go that way. So,
and again, that I do not think would fit with the motivation.
Resilience, but for resolve, that wouldn't have been a resilience. That would have been a resolve.
Yeah, and again, like just from a mechanical perspective, like I'm not going to tie any motivation to winning a fight because there's already stuff you get from that.
So how would we get with that being the case, then what would resolve look like? What do you think?
What would resolve would look like? Again, for these ones, because of the motivations you've picked, that's going to be up to you guys to figure out how that's going to work.
Well, I would have said a bar fight. So if that's not the case, that's why I'm like brainstorming of like what else would it? Because the small one I think is supposed to be pretty mundane. So I'm trying to think of what mundane thing could trigger making a name for himself for his clan. I was thinking in the bar, this is for the Cragforge clan, and knocking someone's teeth out because they took my drink would have qualified. But if not, I'm thinking what would it be?
Did you mention the Cragforge clan at all during that fight?
No, but I could, at the end, if I'd won, if I'd been conscious.
No, I disagree with that.
Like, I think for like Talthir, from like his short-term things that help with that would be like learning sensitive information about nobles that he could use to wield power later on with. Not huge things, minor things, to help build his status and influence.
Yeah, and I think like
it's something minor.
The if you had like the meeting with Valte and Anderhart, that seemed to go well, and he seemed to want to work with you again. So that likely would have gotten you a resilience back, or a resolve back.
Okay, resolve.
Yeah.
But my resilience is bottomed out, so yeah, I gotta earn the big stuff.
Bottom out as in you've got none right now,
I've got no resilience.
You've got no resilience. Okay, so then, well, Thognoth got his resolve back now, but because of the getting the axe, I think both of you guys can give yourself yeah, you can also give yourself a resilience resolve back, Thognoth. Talthir, you can also get a resolve back from that meeting. Alwyn, you can also get one back from that meeting.
Yeah, isn't resolve the big one?
No, resolve is the short one.
Is a smaller one.
Yeah, it's fucking irritating that they've got
I know.
Fortune is the small one for that one, and Fate is the long-term one. Mm-hmm. Resolve is the shorter word, but it's the smaller one in Resolve Resilience, and Resilience is your long-term one.
Gotcha. And if I have no resilience, I can't get any resolve.
If you have no resilience, you cannot get any resilience. Yeah.
So
But you haven't. I know Thognoth bottomed out on resilience, but you haven't, have you?
I have, yeah.
You have too?
Yep. You peppered me with a lot of arrows. I had to stop it.
Oh man.
That was in the sewers, wasn't it? There was a lot of dying potential going on. Yeah.
Let me rephrase that. The escaping with a lot of arrows.
Shit. Yeah.
So I mean, Katarina's been spreading the word of Shalia quite a bit.
Yeah, I just don't. But see, as a proper priest of Shalia, I don't, petition for it because that's.
But that would drive your sort of result.
Yeah, it would, but I don't. Whatever.
But you haven't lost any, or I don't know.
No, I haven't lost any resilience, but I haven't regained. I only have one resolve, so I mean, because I guess I've probably. Yeah, I don't really.
Have you done anything
again, I don't,
to promote?
Probably as a GM, I have. If I think back on it, but I'm as a fellow GM, I really don't petition for it. So, however,
Well, what do you think the so one thing about the motivation too is as you guys do things too, petitioning is a really good way to put it because it's intended that when you do something in game, prompt to me whether you do it. I'll try and remember because I've got them written down now. But because there are so many moving parts in the narrative metacurrencies, like the game does expressly say that players should petition for the stuff. Do you think there's how about the rest of you guys? Do you think there's anything that Katarina's done since the mutant thing? I think you tried to save that the what do you call it? Remember the traveler? The courier?
Oh yeah, the courier. I tried to save the courier. Even like the guard guy.
Yeah, you saved him. I think that's.
I mean, putting yourself. The whole thing of Shalia's mission is like like a combat medic, putting yourself in harm's way.
Yep.
I mean, stopping the bar fight. I mean that saved us. So that's what I mean.
Yeah. Instead of jumping into the fight, which would be your inclination, kind of. Wait a second. I'm a priest of Shalia. I need to. But
they sort of wrestled it and brought it to an end. The crowd, didn't they? So.
Yeah, I guess so. Sean, just the reason that just because you get into a fight with something, that's why I'm reluctant to key that to resolve. Is for no other reason than I don't want to be encouraging fights all the time as well. I don't want to incentivize that with the narrative metacurrency, but like the kind of role-playing resolution. When there is a role-playing component tied to it, like Shalia trying to intervene to create a non-violent thing, I see that as I see that as a reasonable like role-playing link. The motivation seems to be linked to the role-playing component of it, and I don't know. Like, I don't want to be unfair about it either. And I'll tell you the reason I'm reluctant to link it to anything that just is like, oh, and you get in a fight and you get this back, is because it feels like contrary to the purpose of Warhammer Fantasy in general, that it's not supposed to be like D&D, where like every time you get in a fight, you get a reward for it. And I don't want to be unfair about that. So do you think?
It doesn't have to be a fight. That's what I was thinking. But if it's not that, my question was, okay, that's fine. But what is it? So just so I know what to aim for.
Couldn't Fognorth sort of or lean more on the loyalty to the rest of the group and his clan, and just the way he sort of goes through that and resolves it is normally through combat or intimidation or violence or but it doesn't have to be, because they might just stand down and it's like, but I've stood up for him.
And that's I think if it had been a situation where like someone had jumped Talther and then Thognoth had jumped in, I'd feel like that's a reasonable, like, okay, there's something relating to motivation. If all he wants to do is fight, well, he's a fucking sociopath then, and that doesn't feel like a reasonable motivation to reward. Like, what was the honor in demanding that these guys pay for your drinks?
I mean, it's just on a very low basis of not getting run over as a dwarf by a bunch of manlings, and that's it. I mean, it was very small, and I'm not necessarily even pitching for it anymore. I'm just saying, what is it? Like, I'm just trying to find what the good one is, like a good.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is if you can find a role-playing purpose for engaging with a scrap, then I think that's good. And there's been plenty of examples where you've done that, where Thognoth has intervened himself to be like, hey, watch your fucking tone or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The first fight, I think Thognoth may have been one of the first ones in when that, you remember in one of our first sessions when the rage whatever took that guy and he killed his drinking buddy. Thognoth was one of the ones to jump in to try and bring that guy down, and it wasn't to kill him, it was to restrain him. That's another example of like getting in a scrap with a purpose.
Right.
Not for nothing, the Ironbreakers are defensive fighters, not offensive fighters, right?
Well, I think maybe something to help you, Sean. Like Thognoth really is, he's surrounded by people, generally speaking, not of his kind, and he's trying to defend dwarven honor.
Yeah.
Right? So that could be a good one, defending dwarven honor. So the whole reason we're helping this dude is to defend his honor and following, because we're loyal to you, following your lead.
Yep.
Right.
For nothing, it has cost him quite a few injuries.
Yeah, and a lot of weapons
that's what it is, right?
So Thognoth, I buy that. Why don't you give yourself another resilience back? Because helping Grozem out in the first place, this has caused you no end of trouble and delayed you in achieving your other goal. So I buy that completely.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking of it like in a Cohorts Cthulhu, like if there's a way that you get XP, and if you kind of use one of your characteristics and traits to get yourself in trouble. I think that's kind of right. So you're putting yourself in harm's way. So like when Katarina goes like to the poor parts of the town just to take care of the suffering of the masses, it could lead to trouble, and it kind of has, right? So, that's the kind of the way.
So Katarina, I can't remember if I said vocalize this or not, but the two examples we gave there, caring for that mercenary and caring for that courier, that's two resolve back. Okay,
that's cool.
What about Talther and Alwyn?
I'm already on 2 resolve, so and I've only got 2 resilience, so I'm sort of maxed out, I think. Well,
no, that's how you also gain. You can't buy new resilience. You gain.
Resilience. We're talking about resilience as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's pushed that up. Not yet. Like I say, maybe the whole wedding sort of fiasco might, once we report back and if we get a name for doing it.
Thognoth, you're going to get one more resolve back because you agreed to help Grozem place the explosives.
Okay.
What about you, Talther?
There's been a few times where I've tried to push Talther's, status as a priest of Manon a few times, and it has fallen flat on my face. So I don't know if those work, but he's made the attempt.
Well, the rest of you guys, can you think of examples of where Talther has tried to raise his status?
So what is the description of the motivation? Sorry.
He is trying to increase his status and influence as he adventures. It's one of his driving motives.
Okay.
So one thing I can think of is contrast with Rudy, because Rudy was an old childhood friend. Meeting with him, you guys have had some role-playing moments where you've shown that you've grown or changed from the kind of street thug that he was. Do you guys buy that?
That definitely did display a difference in status. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's matured or sort of grown up. Yeah, I guess.
Basically, you didn't get back into talking about, schemes and whatnot with him, I guess.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, I guess motivations can change, right? Like if you
Yeah, it's
Depending
true.
on
I mean,
career
his driving need for motivation is because he ended up an orphan because of actions of a noble, and then he ended up in the church because of that. So he's after, balancing that factor out because he would have been on a different kind of life. So his desire for status and influence is to get on that level so he can do something about it.
Do something about which?
The noble.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So your
He
motivation
wants-
is revenge.
Well, justice,
Rebenga.
revenge, vengeance, one of the three.
Okay.
Of course, it's been so long that, who knows what that'll turn into later.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you haven't, yeah, I don't. I'm uncertain on resilience.
Yeah.
Now, what do you
I made
guys?
a complex character, and it's showing that complexity now.
I mean, but it's also you like Carl said too. It can change as well. Is when from the time when he's left Salzenmund and gone out to the nobles and then come back and found that guy. Is there anything you think that's been driving what he's been deciding to do? Beyond just trying to get in a position so he can effect his revenge on this noble.
I mean, his ideas have been changing more and more as he's been traveling with his party. He's growing attached to them. He's learning to fight because he doesn't want Thognoth bearing all the brunt of stuff. He's trying to support his party members as much as he can. I wouldn't exactly call him. Well, maybe loyalty is beginning to become more of a priority in his life too.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I mean, the bar fight notwithstanding, he knew he couldn't win that. So, I don't know. Maybe it's shifting a bit towards maybe he can just make a name for himself with his adventuring party rather than different means to the end.
So that, again, is describing a goal. That's what you want to have is prestige and recognition, but what's the motivation? Yeah. What's the reason you want
drive,
that?
yeah.
It's still gaining status and influence. I don't think that shifted much.
But again, the reason you want that is for revenge? It's not the what, it's the why that you're looking for.
I think, yeah, it's still tipping towards that. He wants to balance the scales for that. So, but
Okay.
It could be shifting that he's more or less revenge and more of becoming a power in order to shift things on a more grander scale. Maybe he's going to be more focused on, what the party can do as they grow in power and influence rather than what he can do.
Okay.
Yeah. More of a widening than a narrowing of the influence.
But again, to gain the power, is that just for the sake of itself? Does he just want power for the sake of power, or?
I think that's still evolving, but yes.
Okay. Yeah, and that's a perfectly legitimate motivation. Do you guys think there's anything you guys have achieved since leaving the nobles in that province that is consistent with Talther's kind of blended motivation then?
I mean, I would say we've really influenced what's going on here in this town.
Yeah.
I mean, for better or for worse, right? We've really done some things to drive a lot of the activities here.
Absolutely,
Especially,
yeah. You guys have uncovered a conspiracy among manlings and dwarves to defraud elves, which has also led to,
And if this goes well, Manon will get a more influence in the area, basically. Like, he'd be well known that priest of Manon was down here to help cleanse the rats.
Yeah. I think that also likely coincides with what Alwyn was saying about getting yourself more power.
So power in the church first, and then
So I think both of you guys can also take a point of resilience and a point of resolve.
Yeah, it puts me at 1 and 1.
Okay. Like, mechanically, I will say, my bitching about the nomenclature notwithstanding, it's very cool having this stuff set up this way. It really gives for, it's an interesting lattice work in which to talk about, like, the difference between, you doing things, and because if you're pursuing your goals, you're presumably role-playing your motivations, so it should be kind of a self-feeding cycle. It's just something we haven't been paying attention to for 34 sessions. So
Yeah.
so we can add this to the list of what we learned. It was in the 20s when we remembered the destroying armor for critical. So now we finally sorted out resilience and resolve.
That happens, right? I mean, I think
there's a lot of stuff. Like there's a lot of moving
characters
parts.
forget about this stuff, when they're getting beat up.
Yeah.
In, like, long-term campaign, they're like, oh wait, I can. Yeah, you can mitigate some of these conditions not to be bleeding out or burning on fire.
Yeah. So to cycle back, Sean, does that give you a better idea of how Thognoth's going to get resolve and resilience back?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
Awesome. Yeah. Everybody else, does that give you a better idea of how to get resolve and resilience back?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I need to apply my charms more often to get more influence. That will be a lot more critical fumbles for me, but we'll see.
I mean, in fairness, you really should have made that roll for that bargain. It was just really unfortunate luck. All right, so then, guys, we got the motivations back. Thank you very much for clarifying those. Now we're picking up with our heroes in a pub. Thognoth seems to not want to be leaning on one of his arms right now. The door opened, I think was where we left things, and Grozim still has not yet come in. So, what are you guys doing to kill your time? Is anyone indulging in those free drinks that are being offered? Because we could make some consume alcohol checks.
We did make some at the end of the session, didn't we?
Did you?
Yep,
Yeah.
Thognoth did, and I'll win.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's all their impressive failure.
I think we all had
Oh, it was charm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did not partake.
Oh yeah, it was just us two. I think we were sort of drowning our sorrows after getting a bit beaten up.
Yeah.
We become drinking buddies.
How do you know? Currently, you've nowhere to stay. Do you? Because you were kicked
I
out.
thought we got rooms here.
Oh, you got rooms here. Okay.
Rooms here.
Yep. Yeah. So that answers that.
In the dorm, their dorm, if they had one, I thought.
Right.
But there was a little bit of concern that if we were going to get attacked, and if we were in like a shared sort of open sort of area, that other people might get caught up in it. I think there was a bit of a concern because we're not sure about these Skaven that were spying on us that got away.
Thognoth, how much was stolen from you last session?
All of it.
Do you recall offhand?
5 gold, 32 silver, 4 brass.
Okay. Is Thognoth going to do that favored dwarven tradition in future of keeping a crown in his boot from now on?
He's going to keep that grudge book up. He's going to do that.
Name goes in book.
There's a difference between brawling and stealing in his dwarven mind. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Brawling's one thing, fair enough, well traded, but stealing, come on now.
So, I guess, how much longer do you guys wish to enjoy the evening here? Because you are kind of the heroes of the hour. Particularly, it seems there's quite a few who are offering blessings to Shalia in this. You may recall the crowd turned when that one brawler called you a bitch, and then Talther roused the crowd to get them further on your side.
I would certainly have another drink before hitting the
Well, I'm not
sleep.
I'm not going to bed until I can be sure Thognoth can make it to his bed because of his injuries.
I'll probably be drinking. I don't know how I don't know how I wouldn't be drinking.
Yeah, and Thognoth, I think he's got one. Alwyn got a success, but looks like he got a. Did you buy that one up, Sean? Do you remember?
Say it again. Did I what?
You got a marginal failure there. Do you? From the
I think
consumer.
you said something about he needs to have a number of drinks equal his toughness bonus before he
Right.
gets hungover.
Oh, that's a good
Yeah,
call.
you can take a little bit, can't you?
Yeah.
You take a lot.
Oh
of
no,
it.
that's
I remember that.
you take -10 to weapon skill, ballistic skill, agility, dex, int per one you fail, and then after you fail a number test equal to your toughness bonus, that's when we roll on the stinking drunk.
Right, so it's just a bit tipsy at the moment.
Bit tipsy at the moment, exactly. Then Alwyn and Thognoth, Talther and Katarina, are you likewise sharing in cocktails?
No.
Katarina's not drinking. She can make sure these guys are
Okay.
okay.
Then Alwyn and Thognoth, give us an average consume alcohol check, please.
Okay.
I don't think your back or your arm will play into this though, Thognoth. So I'm not sure if you. Wait.
The rare task that
All right. So yeah, no problem. You guys are slamming back some drinks and having a very. They're not very good, mind you. Like they're the ones, the drinks that are being bought for you are, like get out of the trough for the leavings and then serve it to you, but they're free, and you really can't look.
This is super rare, someone buying me drinks outside of our group. So I'm definitely going for this. So yeah, I'm all in.
Yeah. Telther and Katarina, while Thognoth and Alwyn are carousing, what are you two up to? If anything.
Well, I attempted to find out if anybody knew about those thugs, but that didn't turn out last time. That's my failed charm check.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Oh, okay. That's what that was.
So Talther was going and asking folks in the crowd. He's got some pretty decent fellowship skills, doesn't he?
He does. I just was rolling very poorly
No,
last
that's
time.
what the funny thing is, because I think your haggle's been shit. Some of your other things. It's just been the
And
dice betraying.
I've got this whole attractive thing, but it's not working for me. I got to succeed to use it.
Mm.
So,
Who are you, Katarina?
I mean, if they want me to ask around about these guys, I can, but I don't know if it's really it's just money. We've gotten a lot of money. Do you want me to ask around? Maybe they might like me better.
might be a good idea. That wasn't a non-substantial amount stolen from Thognoth, and if his armor is not good, then it's endangering the rest of us
Oh,
by proxy.
he needs money to fix his armor?
Pretty sure he paid for a bit up front, but I'm not sure how far that'll go.
Let's see. I don't think I've, because it was going to take days to repair, so I don't think I turned it
Didn't
in.
you
Like a spare set or
Yeah,
something?
I think you replaced it with cheaper stuff, didn't you? Temporarily. Didn't you buy sort of chain or some sort of, what's it called?
Oh, leather jerkin. Yes, I did.
Yeah, leather. Sorry. Yeah, just as a temporary sort of.
Yes, that's what I did.
Okay.
It would take too long for repairs, so I just went with the cheaper one.
Okay. So then, Katarina, if you're not, Thognoth will not stop about swearing oaths about vengeance on this, so it is clearly finding the identity of these thieves is important to him.
Clan's
Talther,
honor is at stake. He's going to throw that at it just for kicks, for fun.
Is it a what?
so honors at
Throwing
stake.
into my clan's honor is at stake. He's going to slur out that his clan's honor
This
is at
stein is
stake.
half empty. My clan's honor is at stake.
It was my father's armor.
My clan's honor is dripping down my leather jerkin right now. I need to get my, on and on.
Yeah.
Well, more importantly, we should get you to a bed and put some healing poultices on you. But you probably don't care about that. You're looking pretty rough, Thognoth.
Is it 1 point you get back overnight, or is it your toughness bonus overnight?
Plus toughness bonus, possibly.
Did the success levels come into it, or?
That's just for cutting down the time for recovering from critical injuries.
Yeah.
You don't have Shalia's Tears, do you, Katerina?
Yeah, I do. But,
Shalia's
it's-
Tears can be used to get rid of critical wounds, FYI.
thought it was like temporarily.
Let's take a look here.
I can get rid of conditions, but that's
Shalia's Tears. You
wound.
passionately appeal to Shalia to spare a poor wounded soul. You pray for 10 minus your fellowship bonus rounds, at which point you heal the target of 1 critical wound. For every
Yep.
+2 success levels, you may heal another critical wound.
Dang.
That is a precious miracle right there in Thognoth's
And-
eyes. Precious.
and as we learned with priests invoking their gods' miracles, quite often potential sin points.
This is definitely keeping in with this.
Well, it's just a matter of how many times you use it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think,
Yeah, but-
Katerina?
I mean,
Yeah,
Bogner's
but
got
he's
2, I've got 1.
Exactly, but he's here drinking instead of. I mean, I could do it later when he's ready to go for bed,
Okay.
but right now, I mean, because it takes some time.
What's your fellowship bonus?
I think it's 4 or 5. It's 4,
4?
so 6 rounds.
6 rounds.
If she mentions that she might do this, Talther will make great efforts to bemoan his twisted ankle.
Yeah, I guess I could work on his twisted ankle and see if that works.
Well, after you've seen the Thognoth, of course.
Well, you'll let me do it. Thognoth is drinking right now, so
Oh, yeah.
okay. You guys have medical attention though.
Without
so it's
attention.
good. Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay, that's awesome.
So let me try my prayer then on.
Okay, so it'd be pray at average. Or at challenging, sorry.
Yeah, pray it challenging. Let's see.
And this is for Talther's foot.
Yeah.
I didn't know she could do this, so she can.
There's actually a couple of wizard spells that can assist with it too.
There you go.
There you go. That is, do you only have the one?
Just the one.
You only have the one, right?
Okay, that is healed through the
Yep.
grace of Shalia.
Oh, my ankle has never been better. I will make a
Yes.
donation to Shalia's temple. The next, actually, I could give it to you, right?
Well, next time I go, if we survive this next challenge, and next time we have to go, treating the sick and wounded, you can come along. You're pretty good. You're pretty good at healing.
Yes, actual bleeding wounds I can definitely do. So yes, I will honor Shalia doing that.
And maybe we can go to the docks and promote Manon.
Something I noticed as well in the light steps. I don't know if it's been the same for the other ones. I don't recall. Each of the gods seems to get like one, kind of career for it. But in whatever it is, the Rogue and Ranger book, it gives like 4 versions of Ranalt priests to
That's cool.
to iterate among, like, some are thieves, some are gamblers, some are just like con men. And there's, I think, 2 among the Ranger priests for whatever the I can't remember what the other god is. But,
Tall.
Yeah. So it's cool. It gives a lot more variety to the clergy than just like, here's your one.
Yeah.
Because the other ones have been like,
Yeah, the-
Mermidia gets one, whatever it is, the sea priest gets one. So then, when would you care to? Do you want it before bed? Is when you're going to try and effect a prayer on Thognoth
Yeah.
or a miracle
We do
on
that.
Thognoth? Okay, so go right ahead. If you get so challenging, pray.
Let's see if Shalia shows mercy on this poor dwarf.
You could definitely use it.
There you go.
There we
Same
go.
roll.
Both
That
of
is
them.
2 of
2,
them.
which means both your arm and your back are
Wow.
relieved.
He's probably going to fall before he gets far into it, but he's going to be spraying compliments at you. You'll have to think about what they are actually, but he'll be like, you're no dwarf has had a finer compatriot.
He lapses into Kazalid in
Yeah.
excitement.
And then falls asleep. Rolls over.
Yeah.
All right. So then, then I believe, does that leave our party without critical injuries?
Yep, I am
That's
good.
crazy.
Nice.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's been a while. He won't even know what to do when he wakes up.
Yeah.
That's a first.
It's like a first. It's almost a first.
We just really haven't had any downtime.
So,
Or,
I think you also, Shelley's Tears might be one of the more recent miracles you picked up.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, guys, what I'd like is for Talther and Katerina, if you are the ones who are not imbibing and are kind of otherwise watching around, would each of you give us a... Give us an average... No, give us an easy perception check, and Alwyn and Thognoth, give us a difficult perception check, please. Okay. Nice, Thognoth. Well done.
Yeah.
Even when he's sleeping, he still thinks the helmet's there.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
And then are we still missing somebody? Or is that
No,
everyone?
yeah.
That's 4.
2, 3. Oh, a success from Talther as well. Great. All right. So Talther, Katerina, and Alwyn, what you pick up is, and perhaps it's just because your mind is on this. This is while you were still drinking as well. And we can say that your prayer could have easily been done. It's 6 rounds, but everyone seems to be happily making space for you, Katerina. So your 2 miracles could have taken very little of the evening as it's been winding on. It looks like it is Katerina who notices this first, followed shortly by Talther, and then Alwyn. Someone who's sitting closer to the window, where the bar kind of looks out into the street. There's someone there, and it's an old world pub, so it's bright inside. It's almost like black in the window because there's no lights outside. But someone is at the window, kind of ticking at it. The one who's sitting inside the pub is at the thing, saying, "Hey, hello, hello," and tipping away at something on the window. And you can see there is a little white rat that has its hands up against, or paws up against the window, and is looking in, and this guy is kind of like poking at it. The person at his table is like, "Leave him alone," and he kind of goes over and he's like, "No, he's saying hi to me," and he's moving his hands over and tapping at the window again because this thing seems to be looking. You have no question that this thing, you can feel that it is looking in your direction, Katerina and Talther. Alwyn, you perhaps look up and you see the 2 of them looking over, and this thing seems to still be making its way along and looking at you. Thognoth, unfortunately, this escapes your attention. This is while you are still enjoying your time in the evening. It is quite late, though. Like, they're going to call last call probably in another hour and a half.
Okay. Should we send Astrid after it?
That sounds like a good idea. However, look at Alwyn is like, if there's one spy, there might be more, and they might have bows and spears rather than just 4 legs.
Give it a try. I'm not sure how well that'll go, but could certainly try it. They're obviously still spying on us.
Yeah.
And using these small rats to communicate back to them.
Katerina, you got the highest roll, right?
Yeah.
You've spotted some of these other, gray, or when they're wet with sewer water, they look black. You've not seen an albino rat before. This is unusual. It's pure white.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess, she'll casually follow. If he sticks a dog on it, he'll casually follow.
Well, I mean, it's outside of it's on the other side of the pane. That's why the guy's tapping on it. You'd have to bring the dog outside, unless you want her bashing through the window over the table. Oh, you might have muted yourself, Carl. The boat.
She's gonna go outside. Then.
Okay. So
Like
Katerina,
casually, like pretend not to look at it, But
sure. Why don't you give us a? It's not really stealth. But I can't think of another skill it would be because there isn't really like a lie.
I think it's use charm.
Perception. Yeah, I use charm, but I don't think that would necessarily apply here. Give us a stealth check at challenging, because it'll be contested.
Okay.
But there is a lot of crowd here. Give yourself plus 10. Is anyone else following Katerina outside?
I think I would follow after, but I'd wait to sort of get a nod from the doorway or something to follow, I think.
Okay.
Nope. By one. I guess I could use
it's contested, though.
Contested. Yeah.
So it'd be, even if it's a failure, if they fail by more, you would still succeed. Okay. But this thing seems to, Talther, the way that if you're keeping your eye on it from the table, and Alwyn, you're keeping it on the table, you could see that this thing seems to be watching her make her way to the door, and when she's almost at the door, it kind of hops down or disappears. And you can tell because the person at the table is like, "Where you going? Where you going, little fella?" Katerina, you make your way to the door, open up, and you're reminded just how much it does, because this place is out over in the middle of a lake, what the temperature difference is between day and night. It's a wonderfully cool evening out. And if you step out, you can see to the left, in kind of the light that is being cast from inside the tavern out into the street, you can pick out the little rat, and even if you had not noticed it, it squeaks to kind of get your attention.
Oh, okay.
You look over, and it sort of skitters to the edge of the light. It looks back so you can see its beady little eyes reflected in the light. It squeaks once again, and then retreats further towards the alleyway.
I think it wants me to follow it.
So Katerina has stepped outside. Talther and Alwyn, what were you guys intent on doing, if anything?
Well, I'm not going to let her go out into the alleyway by herself.
You don't know about the alleyway. I'm asking what you did. She's gone outside.
Oh, well, I'm definitely going to get up and follow her if she's gets out of my line of sight, so I can keep an eye on her.
Okay.
So the intent is to follow her.
Yep. So you follow to the door. What about you, Alwyn?
Yeah, I was preparing myself. I'm waiting for a signal or a nod to sort of, I've seen the rat, and to set Astrid on her or whatever. So I'm waiting for a signal from Katerina to what we're going to do next.
So Talther, you've gone up and stepped to the door. Katerina is outside, so she's definitely out of your line of sight now, Alwyn. Talther, you step up. When Talther reaches the door, Katerina, what does she say?
She says, "I think it wants me to follow it." So she's gonna start, casually walking with her staff, using her staff as a walking stick type of thing to follow it towards the alley.
Okay.
Talther kind of half reaches out to stop her, but then he pauses and looks at Alwyn and then moves his head to say, "Come on."
I mean, it's different. It's the only albino rat we've seen. So
yeah. Is Fognoff asleep?
No.
Yeah.
Drinking.
Well, he's. I think he turned in, right? Because he had.
No. We're cutting back to this. This all is happening during the evening. Still, an hour and a half until closing time.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So since it didn't take, I guess we realized since it didn't take. I thought it was going to take longer to do the miracle, but you could have been drinking, and she's just like.
Yeah.
giving you a back rub.
Combat rounds are what? It's
Basically.
either 6 or 10 seconds. So like we're talking less than a minute for.
Yeah, she gave you a back rub. Basically.
Yeah. Shalia's chiropractor. You're all good to go.
Right.
I'll turn to Fognoff then and say, why don't we get ourselves a bit of fresh air? Just to clear our heads after that. And I'll sort of try and encourage him towards the doorway and get some fresh
I was right in the middle of the story. But
We've heard that one, Fognoff. Come on, let's get some
but
fresh
he
air.
hasn't, and I'll
He'll be there when we come back.
all right.
So when you get up, so Thognoth is currently at a -10, I think. So as far as levels of intoxication are concerned, he's feeling good. It's not to the point of, wobbly, because I think it caps out at -30, and then you start getting once it gets over your toughness bonus, you get your stinking drunk.
I put them in my sheet, so I don't have to even think about it.
Oh, nice. Okay, so Katerina, Telthar, are you waiting? Katerina has been stepping towards the alleyway. Telthar, are you waiting for Thognoth and Alwyn to join you, or are you going to follow along with Katerina?
I'm gonna follow her along to keep her in my line of sight.
Okay. So you get to the edge then of the alleyway when Katerina, and it's fucking pitch black. I don't think anybody has. Oh no, it's right. It's Colin's character is the mutant with the dark vision or night vision. So you guys, you get there and it's pitch black. Like this is one of the consequences of living in the old world, right? Like unless you're bringing a torch or a lantern with you, which I don't think you have on you, you're seeing nothing in there. You can hear squeaking from within, and there is a voice that speaks to you. And Katerina, would you give us a average perception check, please?
Average.
Yeah.
There you go.
The voice that comes to you is an elven voice. You have no doubt of that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain timbre quality to their voices. And what the voice says is, I don't wish to fight. I wish to parley. You don't recognize the voice. Not one of the elves you've spoken to. Definitely not Orhar. And it is not one of the elves you've, with a +4 success, for +4 success levels. It's not one of the elves you've encountered in Orhar's establishment.
What was the name of that? What was the name of that elf that we were thinking might have betrayed us to the Skaven?
The wizard.
The wizard.
Zakon.
I go, Zakon. If that is you, or you work with Zakon, I am more than willing. But you must step out into the light.
That's probably when you walk up. You see Katerina's talking to someone.
Us manlings cannot see in the dark.
I wish no violence.
You
you guys can hear Thognoth and Alwyn kind of stumble out into the night as well now. And what the voice says, the far end of the street. I will join you there. And we will parley.
All right. Just me or my companions? I'll let them know I must let them know what's going on. They all suspect a trap.
I agree.
You can imagine.
To note, you may rely on me and on our discretion. And you can hear a tap of a staff, and you can see there is a carpet of rats that sort of move to the edge of the alleyway.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear the voice saying, we will be speaking without others listening. But if you need take chalk. And you see through the carpet, the one albino rat kind of makes its way through, moves its way out. I entrust him to you. If I am betraying you. And Chalk kind of gets up on his...
He gets fed to the dog.
Yeah. So if you don't want to touch the rat, you could just put your staff down and he would easily scamper up that and perch on top.
Yep. All right. And I turn to Halther and say, I believe it is Zakon. He wishes to parley, but I think he wishes to speak alone.
Alwyn and Thought, you come over and see this, and Katarina's got a white rat on the end of her staff, and it's definitely the one you saw. Thought, you may do a kind of a double take of like, did you get something new on the end of your... Something's different about this staff.
It's actually a dove, Thognath. It's cool. It's okay. I smirk. So I tell Talther, I guess Alwyn can probably hear that too.
And you guys can see there is that carpet of rats that is sitting there, like just on the edge of the light. You know, dozens of little beady pairs of eyes looking at you. If you do kind of like, go for your weapons at first, you would see they then slowly retreat and disappear back into the darkness.
I think it's worth listening to him, hearing him out, see what he has to say.
He wants to speak alone with you?
He asked for discretion, yes. And I point to the end of the street. That's where he wants to talk. He said, take chalk.
You hear a squeak from the end of your staff.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, chalk is okay. Got it.
That's the rat. Yeah, you can talk with him, but we're keeping you in eyes view. At least.
Yeah.
I may not have been clear. He didn't say that only you could come.
Oh, okay. He said discretion. Okay.
Yeah, and then we would have seen Talther walk up. So Talther, you would have heard the voice as well. If you'd like to give us a perception check to see if you...
Oh, yeah.
I think you can actually make it at easy then, because you've also got... Katarina did say it's an elf voice.
Yeah. Well, maybe Talther and I should go up and talk, and then you guys hang back just in case.
So you likewise... Well, you've heard the voice speak. You could say, and then you haven't seen whoever the source of the voice is, but by the time Thognath and Alwyn come over, you guys would be aware of the carpet of rats that has disappeared back in, and the little white rat on the end of Katarina's staff.
Okay.
Okay. Well, if we all head towards it, and then the two priests can talk, and we'll hang back a little bit, so not so threatening, maybe.
Sounds good.
Oh, you're muted again, Sean.
Thognath will stay facing the rats. He'll follow everyone, but he's...
So the rats quickly disappear back into the things, but it does seem like they were very organized, more so than the teeming kind of hordes that you've seen down in the... I'm trying to think if there would be the equivalent of like carnivals or like traveling kind of like street performers in the old world. So those who have like trained rats or trained animals with little costumes and shit, like the old world equivalent of like flea circuses, this is like that on a much grander scale. You also recall Orhar mentioning that Zakon was a kind of wizard, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So those... I don't think anyone's got like magic lore, right?
No, magic is forbidden to priests.
You guys could give us a... anything that is like imperial lore relating to like imperial history or whatnot. You could give us a check with... or not imperial history, but like the empire. I think someone's got one with Nordland as well. Is that you, Alwyn?
Yeah, I have empire.
I've only got local. I've got a local lore.
So local lore, and then Thugnath's got dwarven lore. Yeah.
I forget I always have this success. By the way.
Yeah, no problem. No, I'll keep that in mind. Right. I should make sure I let you know about the 5 rat ogres in the alleyway. But the so why don't you, let's see here. This will be an average test for any like Empire lore. It'll be a challenging test for any local, and it'll be a hard test for Dwarven lore.
Okay.
I don't know what that is. You don't have to look at that.
Yeah, it's just because this is about the particulars of magic, which the dwarves don't really truck in.
Yep.
No.
Okay.
Also, this. I have etiquette cultist too. I don't know.
Nice.
I have to see what that does.
Okay.
I don't know if it's like chaos cultist or just,
Anyone wish to fortune their roll?
I think I will. I have a good chance.
Okay.
I have a lot of fortune.
Mhm.
Nope. Did I get it? Did I roll? Did it roll?
Hasn't rolled
Did
yet.
it roll? Oh.
Oh,
Nope.
so close.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
All right.
That's funny.
Then, making your way to the end of the street, Katarina and Talther, what you see stepping out with a staff that looks to be, it almost looks like a birch sapling that is being carried. There is an elf that steps out, and I don't really have a good, wood elf wizard illustration loaded, but this will give you an idea of the more earthy nature of the. He does have sandy blonde hair. He shares the same characteristics of elves. He's got more natural clothing on, much rougher, I think, or more well-traveled than what you've seen of Orhar and his kin. And he's got a pretty serious expression on his face as well.
Mm-hmm.
He steps out and says, there. You trust them?
Which one? The ones behind me?
Sorry, I don't quite understand.
Do I trust who?
That we are alone.
The 3 of us?
And your companions watching?
Possibly. There were some, I'll just use the word, there were some Skaven earlier that were watching us that were driven off. The assassin type.
You have been watched this entire time. But we are alone now. And he gestures to the side, and there's kind of a carpet of rats that come out.
Mm.
They listen to me. Who are you?
I am Katarina of Shalia. This is Talther of Manan. We are from Salzamund, and the adventure and circumstances brought us to this city. We're helping our companions clan mate with this endeavor and it's become a situation.
Indeed.
You are no longer allied with Orhar.
Or that's the elf guy, right?
Yep.
I don't think so. He was very angry at us and kicked us out. He did not agree with our way of dealing with the Skaven incursion.
And what is that?
For whatever. I look at Talther. I don't know if we should.
Kind of look back and like. I think Orhar is more upset with things withheld from him than our plans. But that is our business.
I came to parley.
On their behalf or someone else's?
I always speak on my people's behalf, regardless of how unpleasant allies may be. I think he may be second. He may be speaking about the Skaven. He also could be talking about having this conversation with you guys, where Orhar seems more willing to deal with manlings and dwarves. This guy does not give you the warm welcoming. This is what you would kind of expect from some of the haughty elves.
Oh, this guy. Well, they're like the lower class elves, right? Or they've been.
That's what you've heard. Yeah, he is the Harrioth. The
Yeah.
I am Zakon, called Harrioth. Do you know?
Yes, I've interacted with some of your followers when I was applying the mercies of Shalia to the underclass. I empathize with your plight. It's unjust.
What would you know of our plight?
Just what I've heard and the way that Orhar and the others talk. Even though I am from a noble manling background, it is distasteful. That is why I thrown all that away, really, and joined the priesthood.
You can see, because Katerina and Talther, you both did quite well on your perception checks earlier. His grip, kind of like tightens. He white knuckles it on that birchwood staff. And he says, "And what does Orhar say of us? Does he speak of the young bloods?"
I don't believe I've heard him mention that.
No. He may be on his best behavior with dupes. Do you know why he is here?
I'm assuming some sort of brains beneath the city are important to him. Maybe to you, to your kind.
My kind.
The elves in general.
What do you know of our kind, priestess?
Not much. This is only what I've heard or read, really.
You view us as one kind, do you?
Don't you view manlings as one kind?
Give us a charm check. I think that may have...
That is a good point.
That's a very good point.
Nice one. That's a nice one.
I think, give us, and you make it sort of at average, please.
Sure. Oh, come on.
Oh, that's so close. Come the fuck on.
I'm gonna use. That's funny.
Yeah,
I'm gonna use
Fortune?
fortune
Okay.
for that.
There you go.
There you go. So he kind of... he
funny,
is a
by
little
one
taken
point
aback by
times.
that. What I know of man is that you care not to make a distinction between us, and your ignorance allows the Torior to continue their tyranny over our kind. where you stand was once a city, a colony of my people, heirs of Althuan. And it was only through the destruction wrought by his kind, he gestures towards Thognoth, that was brought low, and we were cast out. But this place, and whatever remains of our people, it is our legacy. In the eaves of what you call Lorelorn is where Orhar and his kin avoided the conflict, waited for it to end, and then those who had been cast out were given those spaces left open by animals for their homes, caves, hovels. And it was only their children, if they proved themselves of some modicum of value to those in that Lorelorn, that they would be granted the lowest of places in their society. And if failed, if they were of no use, cast out. Not even welcomed in the animal dwellings of their parents. And now Orhar comes, and having brought low and humiliated our kin, seeks to then steal from the tombs of our ancestors. Orhar is a tyrant in service to tyrants, stealing from our kind. Did Orhar tell you that?
I mean, truth be told, he spoke just more like servants, so no.
His kind is so used to speaking with others as such. That surprises me little.
So what is a Skaven's role in this?
A necessary evil.
Aren't they looting? Wouldn't they be looting tombs as well?
They would think to, but we would have stopped them.
Or you will stop them?
That is the reason for my parlay. If you are not in service to Orhar, what is your interest? I do not know what you plan, but I know that you have been down to the Skaven Warrens. And I know that they know that you are planning something, though they know not what.
Well,
Allow me to make my offering. They are allies of convenience to me and my kin for our purposes. But we have a goal in mind that does not align with that of Orhar. If we can recover our heritage, then I am happy to provide information on what the Skaven plan. Whatever you and your allies have prepared or planned, I trust that it would be more likely to succeed if you knew what your enemies have planned. In return, you must stall Orhar and whatever. I wish to know what you have planned. If your scheme would result in the destruction of our legacy, then your plan is no better than what Orhar would effect. Though perhaps it is a modicum better of it being lost to all rather than fall into the hands of Lorelorn and the Forest Queen. The way he says that is about the same way you would speak about greenskins, Thognoth. Like, there's a level of animosity here that you recognize as like something that goes back generations.
So he's basically asking us to give up what we're planning.
But not really. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, if flooding the tunnel is going to destroy everything, it's just going to prevent Orhar from getting it in a timely fashion, right? So that's my understanding. But it's going to flood and level everything. I don't think that's the case, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, he does want to know what you've actually got planned. Because if you guys, he would not know what specific, he doesn't know what you guys have planned, or at least he says he doesn't.
Orhar was pissed off because it's going to delay what he wants. But that could give, if it's delay and not destruction, that could give Zayton and his people, time to do what they need to do.
I'll ask him as you're asking us much to reveal our plans.
Then allow
what are these Skaven to you?
Allies of convenience.
And their fate, what is it to you?
Their fate?
Yes. What do you intend with them after your temporary alliance is through?
If you kill them all, you'll be affecting it matters not one whit to me.
Well, that is our plan.
And how? Perhaps
if we tell you, it may give them a chance to flee if they know it.
Then
but in any case, it will delay. Well, I'll just tell him. In any case, our plans upset Orhar so much that he kicked us out. So it's going to it delays his goal indefinitely.
Will your actions destroy what remains down there?
I honestly do not think so. If these places have been submerged for so long, and they're submerged again, they will still last. Correct?
That stands to reason. Your dwarf's plan to drain is just something akin to that.
I think Katarina's already given away the intention.
Right, because that's what they've done. They've drained it so that people have access. So it was underwater before,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the plan is to reset what has been already done.
I'd Talthir will say I am no engineer, especially one that deals with waters, but I suppose it depends on how deep the Skaven have dug, or how open the tunnels are to a deluge.
Flood them out. You intend to flood them out.
As you say,
Yes, to effectively have Manon reclaim those tunnels.
He looks confused.
Talthir just kind of does a half
The
smile.
manling god of the sea and water.
He nods. I see. Hence the two
That's-
priests.
Which is why we have a dwarven engineer calculating carefully. We do not want to destroy the city, let alone what lies beneath. Just the Skaven. That is what our last encounter, travel down was to scout, to find the path.
Has Orhar offered you assistance in this?
Monetarily, he doesn't like our plan,
No, I would say no.
And
but he has not stopped us.
the manlings who claim our former home, have they offered anything?
In theory, monetary compensation, but I think it's just us.
Our reputation on the line. What we done in the dark, so that no responsibility can fall back on them should things go sour.
Yes, they call it plausible deniability.
Nobles.
So we would be scapegoats. Yeah.
And your plan would eliminate the Skaven without damaging the remnants of my people's colony.
Unless they can breathe underwater, that is the plan.
I do not think it. I mean, it's going to be a flood, but I don't know how
A controlled one, Manon willing.
controlled. I believe it'll just submerge him again, which would give you and your people time. I'm sure Orhar and his kind, they seem ambitious.
It will be magic, dwarven mechanisms to affect this. Flood? How will you achieve this?
A controlled explosion.
You will travel under into the Skaven realm and detonate something.
Hopefully not as deep as we went last time. It is dangerous.
They have been watching. They will be ready for every step you take.
Perhaps you know a way.
I know a way.
And what will this knowledge cost us?
Only what we are due. Only our legacy. Delay Orhar. The thieves have stolen enough from our people. Give us our birthright. and I will show you the way. And offer what assistance the young kin can. And it's a sign of good faith. He gestures and the rats disappear. He says, bid your companions come.
Okay, I'll gesture to the other two.
So Thognoth and Alwyn, whatever is happening, Talther's waving you guys over now.
Yeah. Approach.
Yep.
Fellas, this is the elf wizard or magic user we looked into before. He's offering to show us a way beyond a waiting Skaven horde that will probably be watching for us. If we delay Orhar's plan and let them seize whatever artifacts are left in the ruins below.
How much time would you need?
1 day, if it is exposed. I have reconnoitered the ruins extensively.
So delay them at least a day after the waters recede so that you may claim it.
My people, if I do not survive, my people will. But first, a show of good faith. He brings his staff in front of him. He begins what you guys would recognize as something different from wizards. If you guys have seen human wizards do it, the way elves affect magic is very different from that. He places the birchwood staff on the ground. You see little shoots of green poke up in a small semicircle. And for each round that passes, guys, you recover 6 health. And it will last for a total of 6 rounds. So a total of 36 wounds restored.
Wow.
As this magic works its way.
And I look at the group and say, he needs a day after we flood it. I'm sure we can invent an excuse about going down to ensure that the Skaven have been cleansed and take at least a day to give him the time he needs.
Well,
Let's say you.
we can also delay Grozem. They need Grozem, right? They need Grozem to do.
I believe it's after it's flooded. So what we're doing tomorrow is we need to delay a day after that before Orhar gets down there.
Correct. Says Zakon.
So
I guess that's down to Thognoth. What you think grows him, how you think he will feel. He's the one that has the arrangement with Orhar.
Yeah, it's difficult to say. He's a tough spot. Been through a lot. His relationship with Orhar. Can't be certain.
He'll still be able to complete his work, as he said he would. Just take longer about it.
Yeah, I mean, presumably Orhar will rely on others, Grozem probably, to tell him when it's been drained, when it's done draining, and so... I mean, if Grozem is amenable, I would think it'd be relatively doable that he tells Orhar later than a day later than it would be. A day after he tells him that it's drained a day after it already was, something like that. But
he sneers and says, I have no time for the prevarication of dwarves. Katarina, Talther, swear to your gods that you will agree to this, and I will take your words as binding.
agree to give you a day after it floods, before or his troops go down?
Yes.
I can swear to that and nothing more.
I can swear to that.
Then let us discuss. And he'll lead into it. Yeah, Thognaught, this is... Oh, absolutely. And this is... Remember, these are the children of elves who are in the position they are for generations because of the War of the Beard, right? Like, this is a guy who regularly, every part of his day, because of his fucking standing, knows it's because, in their mind, because of what dwarves did. Right, so he, it's not just him being a elvish, dick to dwarves, which is kind of commonplace. This is someone who has a deep-seated, bigotry. So, what you find is he is exceptionally rude or dismissive of Thognaught, but he'll give you some actual pretty useful intel for where if you're talking about where to place things, where to expect them, what kind of preparations to do. So you guys know, we're not going to be dealing with the placing of the explosives and the whole, scene around that is not going to be a regular combat encounter. We're actually going to be making use, because you guys will be facing dozens of Skaven hordes as they are trying to prevent you from doing what you're trying to do. So to that end, we're going to be using the battle rules out of the what is it? The Archives of the Empire, Volume 2, which are a narrative way that sets up a series of battle rounds. And the way it basically works is, in each battle round, we look at the relative power of the two enemies, or the two armies. We then go through a series of cinematic scenes where you guys can do things. There are also preparations you guys can do before the battle to try and increase the effective strength of your army. The actions you take in the cinematic scenes also affect the relative strength of your army, and then we roll for an outcome, and then there is a chance of we adjust the army's relative strength, and then we start over at the next round until the armies get whittled down and we see a resolution of one of those. So the preparations that he is going to give you is going to grant you effectively a plus 20. It is a contested roll, just like any other skill roll in Warhammer Fantasy 4th. And his insight will grant you plus 20 to your relative strength, which is going to be good because your comparative strength will start at 30, while the Skaven will be starting at 80. So your actions during the cinematic scenes, though, can have an impact on their relative strength between -10 and -20 for each of the actions you take. Some of those will be like, not every person has one specific thing, but there will be options that will relate to sort of how the battle is unfolding. Each round should be different. You can also make preparations beforehand, but make no mistake, it'll be a war. Do you have any other questions for Zakon, or perhaps a better idea, as we're well past it right now? Why don't we take our mid-session break now?
Yeah.
Refresh our beverages, and then everyone's been speaking while muting, so I've drank my entire coffee for Mo. Why don't we take a 5-minute break now? We'll come back and see if there's any other questions you have for Zakon while he is waiting. And Thognaught, even though he's being a prick to you, you can certainly ask questions either through others or direct questions to him. He's not going to pretend that you're not there. He's just, has his perspective. So for those listening at home, we'll be back in about 5 minutes. All right. Hey, everybody in chat. I hope everyone is having a wonderful weekend. We are having a very fucking snowy one here today. We got a ton of snow. Yeah, we got a ton of snow last night. This was my folks got snow a couple of days ago, and normally it kind of goes from the west out east. But this is our outside my place this morning. We had absolutely no snow yesterday, so way it goes, I guess. Also explains my fucking migraine yesterday. I thought I was like, wow, I just worked too many, it was just too busy of a month. But no, it's apparently because we're having a massive weather system coming in. All right. Sean was there and he's gone. Okay. Oh, thanks, Matthew. Elbows up to you too, buddy. Ooh. Have you guys any questions for Zakon? There's a montage of him describing what's going on. The other... go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask him something. I was just... last time we was down in those tunnels, or warrens, whatever you want to call them, there was these particularly large rat creatures. Have you got any way that we can... they seem quite stupid and easily confused. Do you know any ways to confuse them or scare them, maybe?
You mean the large...
They stood like 10, 12 foot tall, but they seemed quite stupid at times. Is that something we can use to our advantage in some way?
We and you can do what you can to manage access. Like their namesake, many of these Skaven can squeeze themselves in through small areas, and where you plan your detonation, there are many ways to access it. But what you can do is take steps to manage access. For confusing them, what you can do to add to that confusion would be I've seen one have something thrown over its head and stand still for hours on end, confused as to how to remedy its situation. I've also seen them enter into a rage and kill several of their kind. I think they are easily dissuaded or easily redirected, but devastatingly effective when they are able to focus their fury.
Do they fear fire like most creatures?
No more so than any other creature.
Okay.
I think terrain is your advantage. If it is in the sewers, their largest kin, the diggers, I do not think they will have time to bring them to bear.
That's good.
That's a small mercy, if nothing else.
Yeah. Those things are unpleasant.
My kin will do what we can to delay them as well. Redirecting, drawing attention. They are aware that you plan something, but know not what specifically you have in mind. I also suspect that their limits to their trust in me and the value they view in our allyship is limited and likely growing to an end. But I will do what I can. They have among them as well weapons that can be used at range that make use of this blasting powder as well. Akin to crossbows, but without the... They're able to strike at range and without the bow. Hard cover would be effective against that, or limited its limitations share those of longbows. A limited line of sight, and they are not as effective at close range and prone to malfunction. There is a sorcerer among them as well, with great horns.
These weapons of theirs, do they function when soaked with water?
I know not for certain. They seem remarkably unstable, though they have brought them through their warrens and the sewers. So I'm uncertain.
We'll rely on the blessings of Manon to deal with these rats, as always.
Any other questions for Sakon?
You mentioned you knew a way to get past these Skaven?
They
Do you know the points that they're watching in critically?
Yes.
Because I think it would be best if we avoided them for as long as possible.
I assume that was your... There are 4 of you. There are hundreds of them.
It's always these rat swarms. They turn to look over at Thognov and say, "This is why we drown rats before they breed."
Seems like reasonable thoughts.
Any other questions of Zakon?
So if we can...
Hey! Who's this?
This is Toto.
Hi, Toto. What a cutie.
I don't usually have Toto on Friday nights, but
Oh, nice.
today.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. What a chill puppy.
Yeah. She's 16.
Holy
about that?
smokes.
Wow.
I know.
Toto, you look great. And those eyes are still
Yeah.
super bright, too.
Yeah,
That's great.
she's pretty spry too.
Aging gracefully.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Any other questions for our elf friend here?
Can't think of any.
Nope, that's pretty good.
I think so.
Then with that, he will take his leave. He has provided you the necessary instructions, which will give you that plus 20 for the first round. Any other questions? Then, you guys, it leaves you on your own to discuss this. When you have concluded, he gestures and says something in Elvish. Katarina and then Chalk kind of, skitters down your staff and then rejoins him.
Mm-hmm.
So, you guys are left alone standing at the end of the street. You can still hear the sound of the tavern from the far end. What do you guys do? What do you have to discuss as well?
So we head back into the tavern where we're not so easily overheard,
Okay.
at least by beady rats.
Yep.
Okay. So, you guys are back in. You're sitting down with... I love Toto's kind of fading in and fading out. In the background there.
Yeah.
That's great.
Toto likes that. She's
yeah.
like,
What do you guys say?
Don't like the idea of working with an elf that works with Skaven.
They said they were allies of convenience, right?
Yes, but their actions have put a lot of people in this city in harm's way. But I do recognize it as a means to an end. Not sure how much we can trust this elf.
well, indeed, and Grozum's not going to love it. I mean, it'll be... The angle is that this elf can help us get the job done, and that will be the angle to take with Grozum. But I mean, Grozum just came clean with Ohar via much discomfort. So to recomplicate that relationship with this new elf isn't a dwarf's dream come true. I wouldn't expect. But we attempt to sell it through the fact that it'll help get the job. It'll help get a difficult job done. His job complete. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I just imagine it's going to be a hard sell when we show up with intimate knowledge of how to maneuver past these Skaven to start with. So if he asks, we should have something to tell him.
You mean Grozum?
Yes.
Well, I mean, if Grozum's going to cooperate with, I would think Ohar would rely on Grozum to tell him when the draining is done. So if we want Grozum to cooperate in delaying it a day, he's going to need to know the whole thing. I mean, there's no keeping it from him at all. We have to probably hit him with it up front.
Yeah, I don't think hiding anything from Grozum would be the best thing, and I trust him far more than I trust Ohar.
Yeah, I mean, hiding's not really an option because we need Grozum's cooperation in telling Ohar a delayed timing on the draining.
The relationship between Grozum and Fognoff's about the only honest one we've got in this whole messy situation. They all seem to be backstabbing and lying, and they all want something out of this, whether it be greed from Anderhart or the artifacts that Orhar thinks he's entitled to, and now this new player who thinks he's entitled to it. So let's just do what we said we would do and help Grozum.
Yeah.
Aye. It'll be good to have it all to our backs, but in the meantime, press ahead.
Right.
Yeah. So what extra preparations do we need to take? Do we need to?
I think we should pick up a few sacks just in case we come across those big rat things. Is it throwing something over their head, cause them to get confused?
Indeed. Yeah, tarp or sack or tarp, something like that. Can't afford it, I'm afraid. This can't be done. It can't be done.
What about Thognoth? You don't have any tactics skill or anything like that, do you? Is there one in the game?
You mean for dragging down a dirty thief? I have a few tactics, I'll tell you.
Yeah, it's not like a strategy.
I'm sorry, what was your actual question, Kev?
So I couldn't hear you over the sound of low-hanging fruit, Kev. What was that?
Yeah. Over my book of grudges that I needed to review.
You don't have any lore relating to like tactics or warfare, do you?
All I have is dwarves at this time. I don't think there's anything in my career.
You know what? Give us a dwarf.
To...
No, there actually there's not a skill in the game for that. But give us a dwarf lore check at difficult, please.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty rough. 18. I don't have a very good
So I'll tell you
chance
what you're rolling for.
Yeah.
There is the potential for strategies you could employ to plan for it. Like you're going to be fighting a defensive line effectively while Grozem is getting his shit together, and then waiting until it's this, the last moment to be able to leave to prevent them from thwarting whatever it is you guys have planned. What you're rolling for is to add to your army's power for the first round of combat by setting up specific maneuvers, tactics, defensive lines, fallback positions, things you could think of for that. That's reflective of your dwarven lore. It's difficult because it's like that's just not because of your training. Just this is the nature of the like pre-battle plans. So, with that in mind, it gives you +5 to your army on a success, and it gives you +10 on an astounding success. You're currently starting your army at a 30 versus their 80. For your first round roll, it'll be plus
20. You said from the elf.
Plus 20 from the elf, right? So basically, a contested roll right now of their 80 versus your 50 at a challenging.
Yeah.
That's going to change over the course of the cinematic scenes. There's also other prep you guys will do once you're down there that you can attempt, but this is the opportunity to try and get those stratagem done. So, all of that to say, do you want to fortune that? Do you wish to resolve that to get your auto 1 to get that crit success?
I will also add that that target number reflects me being tipsy. So if you wanted it to be a more broader, non-tipsy roll, that would add 10 right there.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that you're still doing this while drinking. So unfortunately, that it's like yeah. But you could wait till morning to try and make those preparations. But I think you guys it's uncertain. Grozem could show up before bedtime and say, like, okay, it's time to go.
Thognoth, you're babbling. Wait till you get some sleep on you, dwarf.
So now that we've got some resilience and resolve back in the tank, does any of that wish... Go ahead, Darren, you were going to say something.
Well, no, I was just going to say, because we've now got this new, so-called ally on board, could we delay it to the morning even if Grozem wants to go tonight? I was wondering. Not
for nothing. This particular rule, it actually adds to the army's power. It's not to the first round the way that the Else bonus does and some of your other ones do.
That's quite a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should. It seems worthwhile to, if we wait till morning. If we wait till morning and even I don't know if we keep this roll, but if we did, I could automatically go for a marginal success by spending it for +1. Oh no, you can't go from a failure.
It's a malediction that allows you to do that.
That's right.
You could spend it, but you could spend the resilience that to sub in the 1.
Oh.
It does mean you're losing one of your newfound resiliences, but it does give you that would give you could make it a 1 or make it a double, which gives you the critical success, which would give +10 to your army.
Yep.
There are other ways to get those numbers over the course of the actual battle too, but this would be shoring up the army to start with. And there's, I don't think, anything that adds to the actual army's power over the course of the battle. It only is attrition as you guys are facing one another.
Seems worth it. So, when were we? We were supposed to go tonight. Is that right?
Not sure.
Not sure. Yeah.
Tonight or the morning, we were thinking, depending on when Grosam's ready.
Well, since
Right.
it's not already set, I mean, I think telling him, I think we can put it off. I feel that our ability to get him to put it off till morning, or even not even to put it off, we don't have a set time. So just to agree to morning isn't ridiculous. I mean, he knows I've had a bad back and a bad arm, and I want an extra night. You know, that's not crazy. So I think we could. We can be reasonably confident we can have a good pitch to him.
So
for the
that still would have
morning.
been a fail then for it. So what would you like to do with your roll?
So
Do you want to try rolling again against a 20?
I can either re-roll or do the resilience, fortune or resilience. What do we think? We think probably resilience is worth it for a critical.
Or I would say yeah, just because it's a bonus that lasts the entire fight.
Yeah, if it goes 5, 6, I don't know how many rounds or whatever you call them, then it's plus 10 every time, isn't it?
Well, it's also not that it's plus 10 every time. It means that what happens over the course of the battle is your army strengths are eroded. So it becomes the challenging, if someone has a really good round, it could reduce someone's attack power while remaining there's the same, meaning that contested roll is now more challenging.
Yeah.
We're already starting off as a disadvantage, so
we'll last longer as well if we had a round or a bad round or something, I
Now,
suppose.
before we put it all on Thognoth's shoulders for this, if anyone else has a comparable skill that would justify how these tactics would work, I'm happy to have them sub in, but this really does seem to be a tunnel fighter stratagem.
He hasn't got a talent, has he? He hasn't got any sort of tunnel fighting talents, has he? Thognoth? Specifically for this sort of sewer fighting.
There is a talent a little bit akin. It doesn't exactly have anything to do with battle, but it has to do with fighting in enclosed spaces. But I don't have it anyway, so it doesn't really.
Okay.
Doesn't really. I forget the name of it this very second, but there is one like that for fighting in close spaces, but I don't have it. So, enclosed fighter, I believe is the name of it. Enclosed fighter. Yeah, enclosed fighter.
Okay.
But don't have it. So, yeah, I'll spend the resilience.
I'm going to adjust your starting army score. So, Thognoth, there is some pretty insightful comments. Like, there's things that you just would not think of as ways to, try and lock down enemies or trying to take advantage of angles or the tight. You may think cramped fighting is actually bad, but Thognoth gives you a ton of great ideas for how to take advantage of those circumstances and how to, especially when numbers. Thognoth, is there any like specific insight you think you offer in this?
Probably some having to do with being shoulder to shoulder and don't let them flank you. You gotta hold the line and look for those choke points. We've already been doing some of this, but reinforcing that you got to look for those defensive spots are absolutely critical. You can't get surrounded. This is exactly what they're gonna try to do, and you have to maintain discipline.
So Thognoth maybe like lines up, you grab some, I don't know, like beans or something from, someone's stew and line them up. So there's like 10, facing one of you guys. And then he's like, well, this is not the tunnel fighter way, and moves it. So instead it's a line of them with one at the end and saying like, this is how we fight.
Yeah. And I want to get everyone, to go through some drills where I can whack them with a stick like I was taught, but I figure we'll put that off for now and do it another time.
It's be easier if I show you. Just try to get up. We'll just wait. We'll.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else have any other things to do? I will tell you, this is only for the first round of battle, but somebody can give an inspiring speech as well.
I saw that.
A leadership check.
That is.
I was going to ask because of this information that Zakon's given us. Are we going to get any sort of time where we can do any prep before we start putting explosives down and potentially get attacked? Are we going to have any time, or is it going to be on us, do we think?
You will likely have a chance to scout, which would be a combined athletics and perception check.
The only reason I was asking is I've got this, which is I didn't know if we could find a few traps and put them in strategic
what I'll let you do,
places.
Do you have how many ranks in that? Just one?
Yeah, I've only got one.
So that'll be
it only goes up to 2.
That scout test I was mentioning. You could use that to give +1% to success level.
Yeah, because I didn't know if I needed to buy a few potentially traps. No. Okay.
Okay, so definitely keep that in mind. Once you're down there, you can make a scout check to try and again, likewise, that'll give that potentially could give a bonus to that first round of combat.
Yep.
So you had a pretty good leadership skill. It's at 45. So.
Yeah, it's much better than mine.
It is a. Ooh. So the leadership test is determined by the difference in power. Currently, you're 40 apart.
Right. 20.
Let's see here. So you can give us a leadership check at -40.
Challenging?
Challenging, yeah.
Okay.
-40.
Okay. Well, here goes. We've killed these rats plenty of times. We can kill them more.
Hell yeah.
Spend a fortune and re-roll that, if that's an option.
Maybe tomorrow.
Rather do it now.
Wow.
It's only marginal.
Yeah, and it's not going to... I mean, again, it's the numbers, the sheer numbers that you're facing. You guys have been down there once. You've nearly all been killed or had shit destroyed or whatnot. So it's not that it penalizes you. But what does Talther speak to?
I mean, basically, they haven't killed us yet, even though they've gotten close. We know their tactics better than they know ours. We've got unseen allies, and, we're going to bring the wrath of the ocean down on their heads. It's just a matter of time, as long as we hold. And behind Thognoth, we can hold against anything.
Okay. Keep the leadership in mind, too, because one of the cinematic things can be to rally. So you may have a benefit later on.
Leadership's actually an important skill for Talther, because if he goes down Sailor Priest more, he's going to be in charge of a navy. So,
nice.
I'm going to have to focus on that a bit.
Katerina, any preparations?
Yeah, I mean, unless she has access to like a library or a place to do research, that could be beneficial, but I don't think we do.
Yeah, probably not in
unless
this little...
we're going to the sewers, but there's no like maps of it, right? Anywhere to study or.
Okay, then it is not until the morning when Grozim comes calling. As you guys are getting up in the morning, I think that is when Grozim will first come calling at first light. Thognoth, if you have not removed your intoxication penalty, you can do so now, because you're not boozed up any longer. What do you guys? What is the mood like in the morning, as everyone is having their gruel?
Well, my foot doesn't hurt anymore, so I'm actually quite spry. I imagine Thognoth is feeling similar.
Yeah, physically, it's a pleasure not to have not to have to stretch his back for 10 minutes after he gets up. But mentally, he's a little nervous about Grozum and having to talk to him about the recomplicating the relationship again. He's not looking forward to this.
Feel like any backup there, Dognath? Or do you just handle dwarves on dwarves?
Probably.
Respect.
Probably.
Alvin, Katarina, what's your mood like this fine morn?
Praying to Shalia for success and mercy for us.
Alvin?
It's going to be a challenge.
I think Alwyn's gonna, because of all the talk of how many there are. I think he's going to be super nervous, apprehensive that this could go horribly wrong, and he doesn't trust anyone at this point other than our group, because they all seem to be like behind each other, backstabbing each other, all trying to get over one on. So he's worried that we're going to end up in a trap of some sort, or so he's just really nervous. I think that's the overwhelming feeling that this could go horribly wrong. So.
Okay. And it's then when you're all sitting around, it sounds like a fairly quiet table. The door opens to the pub and Grozum comes in. Thognoth, I think you would certainly recognize. It looks as if Grozum may not have slept in like 3 days. He's haggard looking, his eyes are sunken in, and he has on an actual, it looks like more of a, the kind of thing you would wear if you're actually working at a site, as opposed to the more fancy, clothes that he has been wearing. It's the closest thing that you've seen to what you would expect, like a more junior hydrological engineer to be wearing going down into the mines. It may be his old outfit even. He walks in, looks over, sees you all, and waves and comes over. Good morning, lads.
Morning, Grozum. Feeling fit as a fiddle, ready to handle those dainty devices?
It feels like I've got a belly of greenskins rolling around. Best to get this over with, eh? No time like now.
I need I'd have a bit of a conversation with you first, if you would.
He looks at you and kind of looks at the others. Aye.
Small development, but perhaps important. And he waits for Grozum to get I don't know if we need any ale before explosive. Even a dwarf might not have an ale before explosive handling. But
there's a keen. You need a steady hand. There's one that's clumsy, but shaking hands are no good. So you do need a good steady hand for this stuff.
Yeah, I put one in his hand and nod him over to a side table.
Sure. So he joins over there. What's come? Have your kin lost their nerve?
No. A little nervous at hundreds of Skaven. I won't lie to you. But no, they're
not going down into the Warrens themselves. Hopefully we'll go unnoticed.
Hopefully, well, that's what my news is about. So listen to this. We were approached last night by none other than this Zarkon. You recall who that is?
The elf, the wood elf.
Yeah, the wood elf.
Or he's a troublemaker and scum.
And I make sure that no one's eavesdropping.
Yeah, as far as you can tell, no one's listening, and no white rats.
So he came with a proposal. He thought our chances were a little strained. Well, I'll tell you what he told us. I cannot, of course, vouch for his whatever the word in Kazalid is for veracity. I cannot vouch for his veracity, but he told us that actually those artifacts down there belong to his clan of elves, and that Olhar is poaching on his people's heritage. This is his. He told. Huh?
What?
This is what his motivation was, according to him.
And for that, he allied himself with the rats.
Indeed, he told us it was an arrangement of convenience, I think is the way he put it. Not saying it justifies anything, but that's what he said. So he had a proposal that he said he knew a way to get us around the bulk of these Skaven, at least for a time. He knew a way to avoid the bulk of them for a bit. He asked for a 1-day delay between the time that it was drained and the time.
Wait, he thinks we're gonna follow him, who's allied with the rats, down into the jaws of an ambush, so the rats know what we're doing.
I think it is my read on him that his motivation is getting to these artifacts, and he wouldn't endanger that with a double cross. And so what he wants is one day.
You mean another double cross?
Well, this whole town is a siege of intrigue.
This is what they say. Elf words are no worth more than what's written on paper. As soon as heat applies, it goes up. Grimnir's beard.
I agree with that, my friend.
He's allied with the rats, and they know we're coming.
I think that it is in his interest, though, that if he gets a small delay, then he is able to get to the artifacts that he thinks belongs to his people. So he says. In exchange, he would do something that would enable us to succeed, which betters his chances of getting what he wants. It's the only reason.
What's this delay you speak of?
He wants a 1-day delay between the time it is drained and the time that Ohar would be told that it's drained. 1 day.
So he asks us to facilitate the stealing of those things what Orhar's put so much effort into recovering.
I really can't take. I understand you have a position here. I can't personally take sides between which elf is more credible. I don't really have too much stock in either of them personally. I understand you have a particular relationship, which I respect. But there's two elves that have a difference of opinion. I don't have any idea which one of these elves is right. But I will say that I think it is in the interest that this particular elf will increase our chances of success considerably. That is the only reason we'd have anything to do with it.
And what's this? Have you given your word to this elf?
My comrades felt it was best and I think I agree. And it is for the best, my friend. That I don't know. We're going to be at disadvantage anyway, with or without this path, with or without this delay on the rats knowing. I don't think our chances are good for success. They're okay. And without his help, they're bordering on poor. So I'm afraid we have to look at this with a keen, practical eye, and decide not to perish by Skaven Hans underneath the ground, and decide what we have to do is what we have to do. And it could make a big difference, this path that he would provide.
But once a deed is done, if we succeed, assuming we survive, why need we keep word to him? A betrayer anyway.
Well, my friend, only dwarven honor would call for it, I believe, if we gave our word.
Yeah, and you would not need to roll, like, it's obvious how beyond desperate in your eyes he is to even suggest that stuff. Like, his eyes are almost, welling up with tears when he says it. It's astounding how uncharacteristically dishonorable, or just if you were to reply with that, it's as if you plunged an axe into his heart. Because
maybe I'd be more gentle about it, being a dwarf rather than Sean being a human.
No, but also, it's also, that's, I think, probably in keeping with Thognoth too, isn't it? I mean, he's not, he doesn't mince words, as it were.
Yeah.
And I think this guy just doesn't realize how far down the road he's gone of, like, why do we need to keep anybody's fucking word,
Right.
And, we lost, Carl.
Oh, yeah. There he is.
There we go. So I think there's a moment where his eyes, and you say that, and there's just like a twinge, and you could probably see, like, one big thick tear kind of slowly make its way down his soot-stained face. And the realization kind of crystallizes, and I don't think you've ever seen a dwarf as vulnerable as what he is right now. He's just like, he's already said he's going to take the oath, and then he further compounds his shame.
Yeah. Grozum will all be better off when this is at our backs. Well, I tell you, I can't wait. Either way, if we perish underground, it'll be over. So let's get to it. Let's do our best. As confounded as our best currently is. And I think this is for the best, my friend. I think we need a chance to succeed. We need a chance to survive. I think this gives it to us. I realize it's one last fully annoying complication, but for one day's delay, it's worth it. And we let the elves fight it out after that.
Aye.
And then we put it all behind us and deal with our dwarven lives.
Aye.
And I'll raise my, semi-raise my mug for a little.
Sure. He kind of looks up and half-heartedly chinks your thing, wipes his face off.
How are those hands, my friend? How are the hands? Steady?
And he holds them up, and steady as the pound, as the saying goes. Yeah.
Ah, there you go. That's my Grozum.
You've kept well with that axe, Thognoth.
I haven't wetted it yet, but the chances are coming.
So
I won't even get into the misfortune here in the tavern last night. I have a tale for you, and it doesn't speak well of my fisticuffs, I'll tell you. I've got a little quest after this that I look forward to sharing with you at another better time. The Book of Grudges just got a little longer.
It's good you have a reason to live.
Oh, yeah.
So, is to be a fight then?
Indeed.
I see the ancestors' hands in this. I bring the axe to this foolish quest. You, a tunnel fighter. And now, such a fight before us.
Indeed.
Our fate awaits then.
Let's go find out what it is.
Indeed. Perhaps in 2 weeks' time. Because we are out of time. For the session.
He says 2 weeks. That's such a delay.
Everybody gets a 100 XP for today's session. Outstanding role playing today, guys. That was great work. Then let me move us back to our main screen here. And next session will be the effecting of the bombs, and I believe you guys will be back to, if not full-handed, you'll have Rudy's assistance as well, because Graham will be back.
Be another epic adventure of accumulating more critical wounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rudy, welcome back.
Too bad he wasn't here.
Yeah,
He
but
wasn't here to get some.
We need to
protect
protect
from the priest of Shalia.
Is Rudy suffering from critical injuries as well?
Yeah, I had one too, I think.
Oh my god, okay.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we got to keep Katarina alive at all costs.
Then there is a an Amber Wizard spell that can get rid of critical wounds as well.
Stop teasing me with magic, Kevin. I can't take them.
There's some pretty great. I mean, like if anything, like the wizards after the rework, the wizards are seen as balanced now. The priests are still kind of, it seems, seen by the community as being overpowered for their miracles. But it's a lack of guidance on on sins.
There's no like battlefield healing though, really.
I mean 6 rounds. And depending yours, depending on your fellowship bonus, you've got that, and the spell that he used to heal you, that's also an Amber Wizard spell.
Okay.
Yeah, you it lasts for, I think it's your willpower bonus and durations, and each round everyone within the sphere gains your willpower bonus and wounds back. It's a pretty cool spell.
Nice.
And it's only, I think it's a difficulty 6. So it's, some of those spells are up to like
easy.
9 and 12. So that's not a difficult one to get, especially if you start stacking in some talent bonuses and stuff. But for those listening at home,
and magic items give bonuses.
Yeah, definitely. I spent, when I was prepping for the session, I wanted to make sure I got, because you guys were saddled with these critical wounds for such a long time. I wanted to make sure we figured out how to get rid of that for you, how to address some other stuff, and also magic items. Magic items are in number 2, I believe, as well. The Archives of the Empire books, for those listening at home too, these are included in a lot of the bundles. There's terrific stuff. Like the whole dynamic of Lorelorn comes out of Archive number 1. Archive number 2 has the battle rules that we're going to be using for the fight.
And ogres, which is kind of cool. Interesting.
Yeah, I personally don't like ogres in the setting. I don't think they're appropriate for PCs, just because they feel pretty one note to me. But as NPCs, they're kind of interesting. The ogre.
Yeah,
and it's a thing. This is exactly the kind of, for what you were talking about. Magic items are out of number 2 as well. What you were talking about, Darren, the complicated things, that's exactly. I've been running a lot of, relatively a lot of the Dark Eye, and I've been talking about how much I really love that setting as well. This is a perfect example of why I love this setting too. Is that there's great ways to why a lot of people in a lot of positions make bad decisions. And that seems to inform a lot of the interesting shit that happens in the old world, right? It's not, people have their own reasons for allying themselves. It's not everyone is just like, oh, I fall into chaos because of one of 4 motivations. It's like, no, I wanted to achieve something, and turns out I've got a fucking terrible way to achieve that, but it's because of how shitty the world is that I've done that. But for those, I was going to say what was in 3. There was something useful in Archive 3 that I was referencing. I don't remember what it was. Um. Oh, the armor rules. Updated armor rules are in there.
Yeah.
And there's some alternate. We don't have any mages in the party, so I haven't talked about alternate channeling. But there's some extra rules in that. There's some stuff that is duplicative of Winds of Magic, but there's some also new stuff in there for effectively like cantrips.
Nice.
But
Hedgecraft.
yeah, Hedgecraft is
a couple more gods.
Yeah, like there's some neat stuff.
gods.
I haven't found. It's neat that I think by the time that I don't know why they would bother releasing a gods book at this point, because like they're finding they've got a way of releasing them. It's that they're identified in each of the other source books, right? Like the Up in Arms has the stuff on whatchamacallit on Myrmidia. The Rogues and Rangers book has stuff on Ranald and Tal. So like we're getting the different things. It's just this not through the isn't Tal's like spouse / Raya? Isn't that the
Yeah, Raya.
Raya is
Handbridge.
Yeah, either a spouse or may have been the same god at some point and then evolved into two different gods. It's a neat history.
Animal familiars too in number 3.
Yeah, that's where Chalk comes in. Although familiars are in Up in Arms or in Winds of Magic as well. And XP careers for companions too. Some really cool stuff in there.
Yeah, some good stuff.
So for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for session 34 of our ongoing Salt, Silver, and Sin campaign. Next, big battle next time, guys. As is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the campaign, or the game we're playing, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'll endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. One interesting, one of the things that we've heard, I've heard people say necessarily, but at least not the people from the roster, but we've seen people like, oh, the 4th edition is too complicated. We just remembered, a way of incorporating motivation back into the game 34 sessions in, but we've been having a shit ton of fun up until now as well. Like, it's one thing to remember with Warhammer 4th is that you don't need to have all the rules in play at all times to have a good time with this game. Yeah, there's no need to necessarily remember or even incorporate all of the stuff that's in there. So, if you are looking at this and thinking, well, there's an awful lot of stuff to keep track of, it doesn't impact the play. The core mechanic of the contested roles driving most things, I think, is the thing that is the most interesting about this game. And then also the character creation, which gives lots of opportunity for customization, lots of opportunity for, for runway for developing characters over time, over a long and ongoing campaign. So that's my shilling for Cubicle 7 for the time. But a criticism of the game sometimes is, oh, it's just so complicated. This is not one of those games where you're going to diminish the enjoyment of the game by not including everything or not remembering to include everything. There's also a link down below to the Dungeon Musings Discord server where I'll continue shilling for Cubicle 7. In addition, there's channels dedicated to our Warhammer games, most of the other games we run in the channel, most of the other campaigns we have, as well as Find a Group, GM discussion, virtual tabletop chat. There's a really terrific, helpful, knowledgeable, and friendly community over there, and you're more than welcome to join us. There's also a link down below to our friends at Noble Knight Games. Noble Knight Games is the preeminent unionized retailer of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs in North America. Not only do they have an incredible selection of new role-playing games, board games, and card games, they have an unmatched selection of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs, including, what can I think of, guys? Maybe the Dark Eye RPG, Spycraft, Fantasycraft, any of my recent obsessions that I've been buying from them. If you make a purchase of $10 or more through their website, be sure to enter the code Happy Muse Year. It's listed in the description of the video. That'll save you 10% on any purchase of $10 or more. That'll change as of April 15. After that date, we'll have a new discount code. So if you're listening to this after that time, just come to one of our more recent videos and you'll see what the current discount code is there. The last thing I will say is two things actually. Last thing I'll say, we have not been doing a regular charity updates for this because we've been saving for a charity stream. This year, our charity stream will be a marathon on, I think it's May 31st. We will be running a 16-hour session on Saturday, May 31st, starting at 8 a.m. CST and running to midnight. It'll be a 16-hour thing broken up into smaller bits, playing Dragonbane. It'll be a unique setting. It'll be a unique set of characters. We'll be seeing a rotating cast of the folks from the roster in there. Lots of opportunities for donors to participate in it. We'll have more information about that. I'm going to shoot a video about that in a short length of time. But we are 2 months off from our charity marathon. So we, if you are interested, we're going to have that archived afterwards too. But if you want to join us live, there will be ways for donors to affect the game in the course of play over that 16-hour session. And all donations will be benefiting SOS Children's Villages International. In addition, we're going to be playing in a session of, or some of us will be playing in a session of Fading Suns over on the First Age Entertainment channel. Graham, who plays Rudy, is going to be running that for us. So we'll have more information about that soon too. The last thing I will say, though, is a huge thank you to our Grim and Perilous players. So Darren, Carl, John, and Sean, thank you so much for playing today, guys. That was a lot of fun to get us teed up for our final act of this adventure. I am very sorry for what's about to happen to you guys next time, but that's 2 weeks off. For those listening at home, thank you again for joining us. We hope that we gave you a few hours to take your mind off the troubles of our world and think about the troubles that our grim and perilous heroes are encountering as they're just trying to deal, as Thognoth put this problem to bed and put it behind them. And until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.